Hey everybody, NecroVMX here, and you are listening to POTATOCAST, and you might notice, first thing I want to mention, you might notice a new logo, and that was provided to me by, who was it? You know what, the guy hit me up on, like Skype or something. Well, I was on my phone, it all kind of runs together. Ooh, yipes. What was the guy's name? Donald Enriquez? Was it Donald Enriquez? Hold on, let me look here. You know what? It was that dude Jazzmaster909. I just remembered as I'm going to look it up. But yeah, there you go. Jazzmaster909. He hooked me up with this logo. It's awesome. I honestly, like, the whole point of doing this was I didn't want to do like making logos and intros and shit like that because that's a lot of work. And I ain't got a lot of time or inclination. And the whole point of POTATOCAST was just to do something that's easy for me to do, that I could just sit and just spill my thoughts and not have to make a big deal out of it. So, for you guys out there to put the effort for me and to help me out like that, that's awesome. I'm going to be using that. What I was going to do is I was just going to, every week, Google image search the word potato, you know, or maybe go on Instagram and look at potatoes and just like pick a nice potato and put it on there. And that would be the logo for that week. But thank you, Jazzmaster, for hooking me up with that logo. That was really cool of you. I can't complain about it at all. It is super cool. So it's pretty much like what I would have done, basically. So there you go. Thanks for the new logo. I did not make it. It was Jazzmaster. So there you go. One thing that I got a lot to talk about, but let's start with a Q&A. I'm going to start with the Q&A. Asked you guys if you wanted me to answer your questions or at least address your questions on POTATOCAST. You can hit me up with #potato. And I'd like to make that a semi-regular thing. I'm not going to do it every single time, okay? Because I don't want to be like the VMX show where everybody's like asking me like really pointless questions just to get on, you know, their shit on the air and, you know, like, have you played X, and if so, what's your opinion? I don't want to deal with that shit again. That was annoying, you know. I was hoping that people would ask me questions about my life or ask me questions about deep, meaningful things or looking for opinions. And, you know, some people did that. Some people didn't. I'm going to go through them. But, and like I said, I'm only doing the comments that gave me that #potato because if you didn't, I assume that you weren't looking to be addressed on the actual POTATOCAST. But let's see. Gamer Eternal 777 posts, LOL. I love the name of this. Glad you're feeling better. Can you tell us about anything coming up for Kazarth Studios? Something you'll only tell your subscribers. And really loving your Shovel Knight LP #potato. Thank you, Gamer Eternal 777. I want to say thank you so much for your ongoing support of Kazarth Studios and the Chronicles of a Dark Lord games, because it has been a rough road. You know, I mean, like, we were finally on Steam and we selling lots of copies, but then you get the trolls who want to give you a negative review over stupid shit, you know. Actually, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but one of our really loyal fans emailed Tanya to let her know that somewhere out there was a forum where we had these man children, you know, these babies, they call themselves MRAs. So, you know, these are the guys with the fedoras, and they're all virgins, and they're really pathetic. It's just sad. They just really, really hate women. And they really don't they don't want women to be a part of the gaming industry, and a lot of them are associated with Gamergate, which is something that proves the point that I've always made, that you could have valid points to make about something and then invalidate them by your behavior. So, yeah, does Gamergate have a few things to say that are valid? Yes, but when you do things like send death threats out to people or just target a person just for being a woman in the game industry is not necessarily a feminist, and feminism is not necessarily bad. Not every woman that wants to be involved in the gaming industry or is involved in the gaming industry is Anita Sarkeesian, okay? She's awful. And by the way, Tanya agrees with me on that. She's awful, and her web series is butt, and she lied to people, and she stole footage from YouTubers to use. You know, so that is a thing that happened. But apparently there was this forum, they went really angry when they found out that there was this company that a woman is in charge of, and they got their games on Steam, and some people left us bad reviews because of that. But we did really well during the Steam Summer Sale. Is there something that I want to tell you guys coming up for Kazara Studios? Well, since you were kind enough to ask, I will be kind enough to say, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you, because it's me personally, and I went over this with Tanya, like, what can I say, or what should I say? And I said, well, I know what I can say, and I said it, and she said that was a good thing to say, so I'm going to say it. And see, I'm teasing you here, but I'm going to say it. You might have seen, especially Gamer Eternal 777, because I know you're a big fan. You're you're part of a group that me and Tanya refer to as super fans. You're sort of our cult following, and you've been there since the beginning. So you might have seen stuff about Shenandoah Zero Chronicle. You might have seen the illustration that represents the game with the planet of Korra being struck by a big like comet sort of thing, and in space, and the logo and everything, and that I drew that a couple of years ago. And you might have seen some sort of like pre-alpha screenshots. They're not actually game screenshots because we haven't actually started developing yet. Right now we're in the writing phase of doing this game. Development, we have started development phase in the sense that there are a lot of graphics made, there are a lot of sprites and tiles and things like that, but the actual like putting together the actual gameplay hasn't been done. We've got the battle system done, we've got a lot done, but right now we're in the phase of writing it, and I can tell you that you probably saw the screenshots, especially anybody who pre-ordered episode 2 got a whole thing where they got to see some screenshots. They're not screenshots of gameplay, they're screenshots of what the game might look like, because we're shooting for, they use graphics that we will be using in the game. But they were created to sort of a proof of concept thing. But the game is going to be 8-bit, so you probably already knew that. But one thing that you probably didn't know is that the story is going to be written by not Tanya. Not Tanya at all. I'm writing the story. So I'm actually writing Shenandoah Zero Chronicle, much like I wrote Nightmare Vision. If you played episode 1 complete, or if you on Steam, or if you bought episode 1 and then bought the DLC Nightmare Vision, that story that takes place after episode 1 with Magus' Nightmare, that was one of my stories. And there's another story that I'm working on that's going to be before Shenandoah Zero Chronicle. It's called The Offspring, and it's I don't even want to call it DLC. It's an expansion for episode 2. It will add an 8th chapter to the game. I'm writing the script right now. I finished the outline. I've sent it off to Tanya and everybody else, and they're all like really excited because it's, I'm going to pat myself on the back here because if I don't, who will? It was pretty good. So it will resolve some unresolved things. It will be emotional, and I will tell you that it will give you a lot of hints as to what is going to happen in the future. For example, episode 3, which is something that we're not yet working on, but we will be. We've worked on it in the sense that me and Tanya have started brainstorming ideas for it, and we know it's going to sort of happen, because what we're going to do is, between episode 1 and episode 2 is a span of a year. Between episode 2 and episode 3 is going to be a span of 10 years. So, and, some people out there have asked me things like, well, why do that? Why skip ahead? Well, I'll tell you, because there's going to be 10 years of peace. So there's not going to be anything to do in those 10 years. But there will be also 10 years of change. So you're going to see some characters in some very different positions than when we left them off at the end of episode 2. So I did want to say that. I know I'm spending a lot of time on your question, but it's the one that's interesting to me because it does have to do with my job. But that being said, that's some things that I will tell only my subscribers. So there you go. Let me move on here. The next one is Xanthia. That's actually my friend Courtney. She says, I know you're a dog person IRL, but what's your favorite video game pet? Mine is probably Epona from the Zelda series, #potato. Well, first off, I would like to say that I don't really consider Epona to be a pet. More of a mode of transportation. You know what I mean? There's no emotional connection to Epona. I think for a pet, there has to be an emotional connection. And that being said, I don't really have a favorite because I can't think of many good examples. I mean, I could think of examples, but not from games that I have a personal investment in. Like, I could think of dog meat from, from Fallout and whatnot. I would say Riley from Call of Duty Ghosts, because he was really awesome. And he was cool, and you got to play as him, and you got to direct him, but he was more of a member of the team. He was not really a pet. He was so trained up, he was pretty much one of the ghosts himself. So, I don't know. I prefer my IRL pets. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I mean, if you're just looking for just animal, then I don't know. I don't know. I gave that question a lot of thought, and I couldn't come up with a good answer. So I'm going to have to move on. Okay, let's see. Let's scroll up here. Okay, Stormcrow95 says, I'd say Sony and... okay. That's him replying to, the Who Won E3. Here's his hashtag potato. What are your thoughts on Bloodstained Ritual of the Night overall so far? Well, I've seen some alpha gameplay. It looks promising. I've seen the feedback. I'm liking this so far. I did put in $60 towards it, so I will be getting the PC version in like a nice box and everything, so that's cool. I was huge into Mighty Number 9 and doing that, and I put in, I think it was $20 towards Mighty Number 9 back then, because I didn't have as much money, but I'm a big fan of Keiji Inafune, and I'm greatly looking forward to this September actually getting to play Mighty Number 9, and yes, there will be an LP. But at the same time, what's a series that I'm into way more than Mega Man is Castlevania, and Castlevania is probably my favorite series of all time. So to see the creator, well, not the creator of Castlevania, but the creator of what makes Castlevania awesome, just like Inafune didn't create Mega Man, but he created the things that make Mega Man awesome. Branching off and getting away from these monolithic Japanese corporations like Capcom, Konami, and you're seeing this more and more often, where these guys, the original creators, are going indie, going crowdfunding, and getting these games done. Yooka-Laylee is another great example of that. People talk about why doesn't Rare make games like Banjo-Kazooie or Conker anymore? Why are they doing that? Why are they making, Connectimals and shit like that? And the reason is because, you think Microsoft bought Rare, so you should have all these amazing Rare games on Xbox. But no, because most of the people that made those games during the N64 era don't work for that company anymore. They left, or they were fired, or and more people came in, and you got to remember that these companies change over time. It's in Japan they don't too often, and when somebody leaves a company in Japan, it's usually highly publicized, because usually when you get a career in Japanese culture, that's your career for life, and you stay with the firm that you're with. In American culture and European culture, it's different, and Rare is a European company, and then they're now owned by an American corporation, and all those people that worked for them, that worked on Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong Racing and Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie and all those great N64 games that you remember, don't work for Rare anymore. But a lot of these people worked on Yooka-Laylee. So, I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of this happening in the future, and I fully support Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I fully support the people who are my game design heroes, like Keiji Inafune and Iga. So, absolutely love what I've seen so far, and I can't wait to play it. Let's see. The Moogle Master, hashtag potato. Would you rather hang out with a group of furries or a group of insane clown posse fans? Okay. This is a terrible question, but I like questions like this, just not this particular one, because, okay, here's the thing. We'll share similar interests with both, right? Like, okay, let's let insane clown posse fans. They like rap. I like rap. But they like shitty rap. You know what I'm saying? They like ICP. ICP is terrible. Furries. They like sex. I like sex. But the version of sex that they like is terrible. And I can't get down like that. So I gotta say I would go with the ICP fans, because at least, oh god, they would all be white people too. They'd be really obnoxious white people that have no idea about anything. I would have to educate them. I would have to, like, get them into NWA and Dr. Dre and all that. Wow. Yeah, ICP is just so terrible. Okay. Well, thank you, Moogle Master, for the question, but I think I'll go with the Juggalos in this case. So I've known people that liked ICP, and they you know, they were semi-normal. It's just the really crazy ones, the ones that put on the face paint and they call themselves Juggalos. That's just, you know, sometimes I'm just like, well, good for you for being into something, but couldn't it be something good? You know? Okay. Oh, and you also asked me if I would ever consider doing an LP of Final Fantasy Tactics. You didn't put #potato on that, but I will address that just because I'm here and I'm seeing your comment. I've considered it. I've decided not to do it because you're looking at a series where just a single battle could take upwards to 45 minutes, so I don't think it would make a good LP. BioPhoenix. #potato, what are some of your favorite RPGs that you played on the PlayStation 2? Well, the PlayStation 2 was host to what I think is the greatest Japanese RPG ever made, Dragon Quest VIII Journey of the Cursed King. So right there, I mean, that was, you know, partly the reason why I bought the PlayStation 2 to begin with. You know, I had the GameCube. Wasn't really all that interested in Xbox. But Dragon Quest VIII, I was like, that was one of the first games I got for it, and I played the shit out of it. The shit. Didn't play a whole lot of other RPGs on there that I can think of that were as impactful as Dragon Quest VIII. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Dragon Quest VIII, beautiful, beautiful game. It also came out on Android. I would recommend getting that, although it doesn't have voice acting. And it came out, or is coming out, recently they've announced it for the 3DS in Japan. I think they're using the new 3DS for this. Hopefully we'll get that. Who knows? Dragon Quest VI just came out on Android. That Tanya was just texted me about that yesterday. She's like, hey, Dragon Quest VI is out there on Android. And I had seen it on Twitter. Oh, that's another thing. I now have Twitter. So you might have noticed links in the description of recent videos is twitter.com/necrovmx. Join me on there. I've actually had a lot of fun with it. I've avoided Twitter for a really long time, but due to the fact that I have become a huge social media whore and I want to connect with more people, I got Twitter and I've been enjoying it. It's not going to be like Facebook. I have a personal Facebook. I don't really add many like YouTube people there, like just a few that I know personally, you know. But the reason I made the NecroVMX Facebook, it was because at the time, there goes my phone. At the time, there was a glitch on YouTube where, as a new comment, people were subscribed, but they were not getting my videos or videos from a lot of other YouTubers in their subscription feed. The videos were not going out to subscribers. And by the way, Trollin Master, who just posted on Paper Mario Part 1, thank you very much. He said, LMAO, your voice acting commentary is the best, Necro. Thank you very much. By the way, and I told people in the original PotatoCast, please watch the Paper Mario LP. Please watch it. It's so funny. And people have been going back to the beginning and watching it. I've been getting the comments, and you guys have been enjoying it. So I know you're going to say thank you for making the content. I'm going to say thank you for enjoying the content. Anyway, getting back to the question at hand. Oh, I actually already answered that. But I was saying, yeah, follow me on Twitter as well. Okay, I got the Facebook mostly to put out the videos and say if you want to actually see the videos when they come out and you want to be guaranteed that you'll see them, go on Facebook. Although I have used it to come out and say things and occasionally, you know, but it's mostly gaming related. It's mostly stuff to do with YouTube and, you know, Twitter is going to be more personal or more jokes. I post a lot of pictures of food. So if you like food porn, you're going to get a lot of food porn because I do cook a lot. When my back is feeling well, I cook more. When my back is feeling bad, I don't cook as much. So if you've been wondering how I'm feeling, it's been pretty good lately because I've been cooking a lot. So, yeah, so just get me on Twitter. I already got 36 followers, which is cool. Some pretty interesting people have been following me, too. All right, so let's move on. Nicholas Jones, #potato, who is the biggest asshole you have ever encountered? I You've got the D at the end there. Wow, the biggest asshole I've ever encountered. That is a tough one, because I think back, and there's always that person that at that one moment or in that period of time you think that guy or that bitch is the biggest fucking asshole I know. And then time changes the way that you think about things. You know? And I got to thinking, and there's like nobody that I'm really like hating on too badly right now. But let me think. Biggest asshole I've ever encountered. There is one, but I can't really talk about it because it has to do with my healthcare job, and the guy is a patient, and that's all I'm going to say. But he's like the biggest asshole ever. I can't talk about it, though. Like, I could do my impression of him, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to do my impression of him. That fucking cunt, that cunt, that cunt, that cunt, ah! That's about it. That's all I can say. That's what the guy sounds like. He's so tiresome. Let's move on. Nero Sephiroth, that's Casey. He's a friend of mine on Steam and Facebook. He's a good kid, and he works for Kazara Studios as a tester. So there you go. Hashtag potato. If it weren't a potato, what do you think would take its place as the POTATOCAST? A radish? Maybe a nice plantain? Also, have you ever considered doing a Civ 5 versus like you against friends or something? Okay, let me answer the Civilization thing first. Absolutely. I've played Civilization against James. I've played against Carissa. And sometimes I'll go online and play with random people, but only if I have the time to really dedicate to it. If you have Civilization 5 and you're willing to play against me, I will. I've had people that are on my Steam friends list, and I've seen that they have Civilization 5, and I'm like, hey, you want to play? And they'll be like, oh, well, you're too good at it. And I'm just like, so what? Let's just play. Let's just have fun. Who cares? I've seen your videos and you're really good at Civilization. And, how about, we'll invite my friend to also play? And I'm like, yeah, okay, we could do 3-player. Or like, well, we'll like team up against you. And I'm like, well, that's not fair. Don't do that. And I'm like, I just want to fucking play the game. I'm getting into this argument with this person. I just told him to fuck off after a while. But I get shit like, yeah, absolutely. I love Civilization 5. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Have you seen how much I played this shit? Okay. Tim Fife says, hashtag potato, what movie are you most look forward to? I think he means most looking forward to. And why? And which game are you going to buy more likely? I think he's just, okay. Blah. Does you grammar? I think he's asking me what game and movie am I most looking forward to. Movie, this is going to come as a surprise. There's 2 movies that I'm very much looking forward to. One was Jurassic World. That's already out. That would be the 3rd one, but it's already out, so I'm discounting that, even though I haven't seen it yet. But one is Terminator Genesis. So looking forward to that. It looks like it's going to really revitalize the series. The other is Straight Outta Compton. And I was talking about rap music earlier. I'm into all kinds of music. But NWA was just like, they kind of changed things, and it looks like it's really well acted, and it looks like it's going to be a good movie. And that's coming out in August. I'm really looking forward to that. As for, if it wasn't potato, I don't know, man. I think potatoes are funny. You know what I mean? I just think, like, I'll tell you the origin of the potato thing. Casey, you know Brandy, right? Brandy Campbelloff, who works at Kazara Studios. Now, she's a longtime friend of hers. Actually, I used to date her. She used to be my girlfriend, like, years and years ago. And, God, that's going back, man. She was like, I met her. She was 17 and I was like 19. That's when we met. I was 20. And, we were on the forum and we were friends. And then, like, after, like a year or so, we started dating. And then she joined the Air Force and all this, but we dated on and off for like 3 years. So give you a little history with me and Brandy. But anyway, Brandy, actually kind of started the potato thing. She has a sister, a little sister who, oh God, at the time she was 13. Now this dates me because I'm thinking I don't really talk to her sister. I have in the past, but I don't really like know her as well. But her sister, Jessie, I'm thinking this woman's probably, like, married with kids by now. But, she probably does. She's an adult now. She's, in her, like, mid to late 20s. And I'm just, like, sitting here feeling old. But I'm just thinking this back as this 13-year-old girl that was on the forum. And Brandy was a moderator that we eventually made into an administrator, and she would troll her sister because, well, like I'm sure you and your brother troll each other. Sisters do it too. And one day she changed her title on the forum to Potato. And just thought it would be funny. And she was like, I'm just going to change Jesse's thing to Potato. And I was just like, yeah, do that. That's funny. And it took her a couple of days to notice it. So she was like going around and posting, and her thing said Potato. And I think after a while, somebody asked, why is your title Potato? And she was like, what the fuck? And she knew her sister had to have done it. And they got into a fight about it. But for some reason, that was incredibly funny to both of us. And it's not that potatoes are funny. It's that the word potato is funny. And then a couple of years after that, the Lord of the Rings movies came out, and there was that whole, what's taters, precious? Potato. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. There was that. That was funny. So, I had like no icon on Skype, and people were like, you should put an image there. And I was just like, I'll just put a potato there. I also like the comments on like YouTube and shit. Like if you see like a low quality video, like something in like 240p or something, they'll say, what was this video recorded with, a potato? I had an old phone for the longest time. I had a dumb phone, not a smartphone. And I refer to it as a potato. When I got my new phone a couple of months ago, I was on the phone with Verizon, and I was referring to it, my old phone, as the potato, so much that the girl that I was talking to started calling it the potato. So it's just a funny word to me. So if it wasn't PotatoCast, I have no idea what I would call it. I do like plantains, though. Oh, it's Tim Fife again. Hashtag potato. Oh, no, I read that already. Okay, gotta scroll up. Brandon Martin, Programmer 2290, says, I would like to hear your thoughts on the Fire Emblem series as a whole. You spelled that wrong. Which one, you spelled which wrong too, is your favorite? Do you hate any of them? And what do you think about Fire Emblem Fates? Hashtag potato. Were you listening to last week's PotatoCast? I love Fire Emblem. It's one of my favorite series. If Nintendo puts a Fire Emblem game on their console, that is usually the reason for me buying that console. I can fucking pass up a Zelda game, but I cannot fucking pass up a Fire Emblem game. I love it. My favorite is Awakening. Awakening was amazing. It was awesome. It was like a love letter to the whole series. And when I found out the whole story of development, that due to the low sales of Radiant Dawn on the Wii, they were told that unless this sells like a whole lot, this is going to be the last one. And Intelligent Designs, who developed Fire Emblem, went and they put everything into it that they've always wanted to put into it. They made it the best one. I really love that game. It's also the reason I bought a 3DS. So there you go. I don't hate any of them. And Fire Emblem Fates is one of my most anticipated games right now. So there you go. Let's move upwards. There's still more. Jazzmaster909, who made the logo you guys are looking at, hashtag potato, hey Necro, a music-related question. I've recently been listening to a Japanese power metal band called Lightbringer. I've never heard of them. I was wondering if you listen to Japanese metal. Thanks, and more power to you. I have heard some Japanese metal, not because I'm into it, but because I know people that are into it. Like, I knew this girl who was really into Deer Grey, and I know this other girl who was really into baby metal. I gotta say, the baby metal thing is really off. Their songs are okay, but yikes, This makes me uncomfortable. Here's the thing. I like all kinds of heavy metal, man. I have not heard any Japanese metal bands that have really gotten my attention. Usually it's like somewhere in Europe, I gotta say, like Germany, and the Slavic areas and the Germanic countries, and then there's the Scandinavian metal and then there's of course American, but, I have not really gotten into any Japanese metal. I'm curious about Lightbringer, power metal from Japan, huh? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna, so I don't get copyrighted, I'm gonna mute the microphone, but I'm gonna bring this up, Lightbringer, and I'm gonna listen to it, a little bit of it. And then I'm going to give you my reaction. So I'm going to mute the mic right now, and we're going to see what I think of Lightbringer. And Oh, it's got a whole album up. I'm just going to jump to the middle of it, an album called Scenes of Infinity. Alright, I'll see you guys in just a few seconds while I listen to a little bit of this. Okay, I like it. I just listened to like a little tiny bit, but I like it. So I might have to listen to more of that. So there you go. Thank you, Jazzmaster. Again. Let's see. There's no hashtag potato on that one. Alright. Oh, here's one from Tanya, Kazara Studios. Blurgle. What do you want to do tonight, Pinky? No, but seriously, what is your favorite part of being president of Kazara Studios? Hashtag potato. My favorite part of just being a part of Kazara Studios, much less being the president, is just being involved in the creative process and being able to put my own ideas into the games. Nightmare Vision was like my favorite thing that we've ever done. I can't wait for people to play Offspring and Shenandoah Zero Chronicles and some of the other games that I have that are original ideas that have nothing to do with Chronicles of Dark Lord or only tangentially related to it. I have games in my head, you know that, Tanya. So, there are two of them that you know that are very fleshed out. One that has to do with Chronicles of Dark Lord, one that doesn't. And there's one that's sort of fleshed out, and we've talked about only briefly, but there you go. Adam Valero says, hashtag potato. Do you care for Amiibo? If so, are you getting the Smash Brothers Amiibo for Fire Emblem Fates? I don't have a Wii U. I have the new 3DS, and somebody pointed out to me that it has Amiibo support. I don't care, man. I don't. I would like to have a Pac-Man amiibo, just to have a little Pac-Man figure. You know what I mean? That's about it. You know, that's the end of it for me. Let's see. Fredo Mom says, definitely love this concept. I'm a huge fan of you and your opinions. So video every so often of just you talking is great. That's why I like your LPs, especially watching them after you finish them. It's like I just like hearing you ramble. You're an interesting guy. Well, thank you very much. I just want your hashtag potato part is next, but I just wanted to say thanks. I think I'm interesting. I think people want to hear what I have to say. That's why I put myself out there. So I'm glad that you're actually listening to the LPs and just hearing my nonsense, because I think it may be nonsense, but it's interesting nonsense. Hashtag potato. When can we expect more Zombie Sneak Attack this year? I've been listening to the New Year's album. I'm craving more, LOL. Also coming out of E3, do you believe that the Kinect PS and the PlayStation Vita are both officially dead in the water for Sony and Microsoft? Okay, Zombie Sneak Attack. That has to do with my back. Okay, that's the reason you haven't seen it in a while. We stopped doing it when we got really busy at Kazara Studios because both members of Zombie Sneak Attack, me and Andrew, both work there. And I was hurting a lot, and I just wasn't feeling up to all the screaming and everything. And we still talk about it all the time, though. We come up with song titles. We came up with ideas. I came up with a title for an album earlier, which was, oh God. Okay. I was on the toilet, so it's on my phone. Let me look. Hold on. I'll tell you what it was exactly. I don't want to mess this up. Album title, Parental Advisory, cunt, 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 cunt. So there you go. We come up with idea. I just came up with the idea for Angry Polka, what do I call it? Pissed Off Polka, where you would take a polka and bring it down like half an octave, and then have like Hansi Kirsch from Blind Guardian screaming over it like backwards, and then like a bunch of noise. I love Zombie Sneak Attack. I love doing it. It takes a lot out of me physically to do the vocals, because 80% of the vocals you hear are me, and it's a lot of screaming. That's why I've tried to do more experimental stuff with that. We haven't had the time. We've talked about it, but having become president of Kazara Studios, I don't have as much time. I would love to do more Zombie Sneak Attack. Maybe around Halloween, we'll try to come up with something. The New Year's album was fun. That was like, we put that together really quickly, too. That was the comeback album. I hope to do more. Actually forgot that we did that until you mentioned it. As for Kinect, I think Kinect, they overestimated how popular it was going to be, and now they're just sort of not talking about it because gamers don't want that. The Vita, I have a Vita, I love it. I wish that Sony would support it now more. The sales are not great. I think if they supported it more, the sales would be better. The sales are good in Japan, so is it dead? No. But I think most of the games we're going to be seeing are Japanese games, which is fine by me. So, Ys 8 is coming out for PlayStation 4 and Vita. Now, Ys is another series that I'll buy consoles for. I bought the Vita because of the remake of Ys 4. I may be playing Binding of Isaac all the time on it, but that's the game I bought it for. Ys 8, if I had to get a PlayStation 4 for it, I would. But the fact that it's coming out on the Vita, I hope we get that. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Tom Gruss, let's see. Hashtag Potato, what is your favorite video game soundtrack? Ooh, that's tough. I have a lot of favorite ones. Okay, I'm not going to give you my favorite of all time because I think it's impossible because I listen to video game music a lot. But my favorite right now is from Civilization Beyond Earth. I love the music in that game. That's like my favorite soundtrack for like now. So there you go. That's the answer that I'm giving. Mr. Darksun01 says, Hashtag Potato, will you be doing LPs of the Mega Man Legends games plus Misadventures of Tron Ball? There's more to it, but let me answer that. I don't know. I never actually played them. So I don't know. Might be something to do. Do you guys want to see that? Let me know in the comments. Also, watching your Castlevania Symphony of the Night Let's Play made me wonder if you've heard of the Vampire Hunter D game for PlayStation 1. I think that would be a great idea for an LP and would definitely watch it. As for who won, I'm giving it to Sony because Final Fantasy VII Remake and The Last Guardian had Microsoft shown Scalebound, they might have gained the upper hand, but sadly they didn't. Well, I like I said, I think it was Bethesda. Sony a close second, but... Okay, Vampire Hunter D... yeah. I didn't know they made a game out of that. I'm going to Google that right now. Vampire Hunter D PlayStation. Okay. That's PlayStation 1? Okay, the graphics are nice. I don't know. I might look into it. I generally don't do Let's Plays of games that I've never played unless I'm doing like a sort of a Let's Fail thing, and that's usually for like really super hard sort of retro style games like Super Meat Boy and I Want to Be the Guy and Volgar the Viking and Angry Video Game Nerds Adventures, you know. Although the only one that I have actually failed at, the only one that I didn't beat was I Want to Be the Guy, so. Gibbs Ninja! Hashtag Potato, why did Mr. Smith kill everybody? Can I borrow some money? If you could be bitten by a radioactive animal and gain superpowers, what animal and what would the powers be? Wow. Why did Mr. Smith kill me? Well, I would let the spirit of Tanya handle this. Tanya's sleeping one off right now. It's 6 a.m., and I'm sure if she woke up now, she'd be very hungover. But she would say, Mr. Smith killed everybody because upside-down bagels rule the universe. That's what she would say. Can I borrow some money? No. I will talk about something like that a little bit later. If you could be bitten by a radioactive animal and gain superpowers, what animal and what would the powers be? I would rather not be bitten by anything, especially if it's radioactive, because it generally doesn't work like in comic books. But if it did, how about an ant? Because they can lift like ridiculous amount of times their body weight, so you'd be like insanely strong. We'll go with ant. I wouldn't call myself Ant-Man though. So there you go. Oh, and hashtag Potato from 3L Hugo. Tell us about what happened to your GameCube collection. Did you stop collecting? Maybe you finished or you didn't care anymore. A little bit of all the above. It became harder to procure the games. I moved to a place where I have less storage, and it's more difficult for me to get to places where I can get these games. Now that I work 2 jobs. And I just, have moved on to other things. I would like to go back to collecting one day in the future, but it's not. That day is not today. He also says, hashtag Potato, what have you decided doing for the Civilization Saturday stay with only Civ 5 or alternate with Beyond Earth? Okay, I know there hasn't been a Civilization Saturday in a while, and I know you also asked me about that, but, I don't know when I'll try to get one next week. I can't do it this week. I just don't have the time. I do it when I can. I have decided that I will alternate with Beyond Earth, especially since Rising Tide is coming out. So we're going to do that. Okay, Dimebag Zombie says, hashtag Potato, have you played the Zero Escape games, i.e. Ever 17, 999, 9 hours, 9... I've never heard of any of this, so I'm going to move on. A Corpse Party I've heard of, but I don't play him. He asked me about that too. MMZen, hashtag potato, any chance of a Phantasy Star series playthrough, the first 4 games? No. If I was going to... I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I played through the Phantasy Star games recently as part of my JRPG project, which I talk about on the Nick Review MX Facebook, and I post reviews of each game when I'm done, so check that out. Phantasy Star 1 I was very impressed with. I enjoyed it. But then Phantasy Star 2 I pretty much hated. It was bad. I gave it a 5 out of 10. It had good ideas, but it was a bad game. I did not understand why so many people thought it was like the Genesis equivalent of like a Final Fantasy IV. It was not good. It was boring. I hated it. By the end, I just wanted to stop playing. I was like, oh god, is this over yet? Phantasy Star 3, which is interestingly the one that everybody fucking hates, I actually enjoyed way more, and I had a lot of fun with, although I had some emulation issues with that one. Phantasy Star 4, though, that's really good. I thought that was like the best. It may be my favorite Genesis game. Like, it may have toppled Gunstar Heroes, but I don't know that I would do 1 and then do 4, or do 1, 3, and 4. I would never let's play Phantasy Star 2. So y'all would have to deal with that, okay? That's my answer. Last one, Manic Scarecrow, hashtag potato, would you ever LP the Warcraft and Starcraft games? No. I'm trying to do shit here that every other motherfucker hasn't already done. There are so many people who play Warcraft. There are so many people that play Starcraft. I don't want to be, and I'm not interested in these games. I think Blizzard is a shit company. I think they're a bunch of assholes, and I don't want to support them. I do not want to give them money. I think they steal their ideas from everybody else, and there you go. I'm only gonna LP games I like for the most part, so, yeah. No, never gonna happen. Sorry if you were looking forward to me saying, yes, absolutely, it's coming up soon, but no. Not at all, it's never coming up. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is, I talked about Twitter, okay, so I was going to move on from there. I do want to talk about something a little bit more serious now. You might notice in the title, the word charity is there. Now here's the thing, there is a fellow YouTuber of mine who goes by the name Razlin, or X Razlin. She has 2 channels, Razlin and X Razlin. And if you've ever been to any of my Twitch streams, she's usually there. I would say, hey, Raz, or I'll call her by her first name, which is Hitomi. She is from Japan, and she is a very good friend of mine. And she has been a friend of mine for a very long time. And here's the thing. Hitomi, Razlin, I call her Raz, I call her Hitomi. I'm just going to say Hitomi. Hitomi lost her job a couple of months ago. And she has been able to continue living where she's living through frugality and selling a lot of her shit and pawning shit and just getting help from other people when she can. And she has a very understanding landlord who has helped her out a lot. Now, the summer months are difficult for her, and it is the summer months now. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys, okay? I'm going to be super open and honest because that's what POTATOCAST is all about. I already asked you guys for help on this on Facebook. She has a GoFundMe campaign, and the link is going to be in the description. And her goal was $500. It actually went up to $650 because actually her rent went up just recently. And she needs this money or she's going to get kicked out of her apartment and she's going to be homeless. Okay. And I know you're thinking, can't she go live with her family or what? She can't. And I don't want to really put her on the spot and blow up her shit and put her on blast and talk about what her situation is. Okay. But this is a woman who is facing homelessness. And I already asked you guys for help. I posted the GoFundMe and you guys disappointed me. Okay. I'll be honest. Not a single person donated from Facebook. Okay. The only people that have donated to this are people that we know personally. Now I said any amount helps. If you have $1, that helps. Right now she's at $415. The goal is $650 for her to not lose her apartment in July. Okay. She got through June. She needs to get through July. I asked for help. on Facebook. I posted the GoFundMe. And I said, it is okay if you can't donate. But I will ask you to do one thing, and that is to share the post and to put the word out. And you guys did not do that. And that disappoints me. It really does. To share something on Facebook is 2 clicks. It takes a second. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't cost you anything. And this is serious, you know. So I'm putting it out here in POTATOCAST. Again, the link's in the description. Please help her. If you can donate, donate. If you can't, share it. Okay? And I wanted to say why I feel so strongly about this. Okay? Because this girl is close to me. Okay? I've known her for a long time. I'm trying to help her with her game project that she's working on called Tears of Eternity Silent Whispers. And if you go to the GoFundMe page, you'll see a logo and sort of it doesn't look so good as a small image, but it's actually very HD. But I created that for her. Kazara Studios is looking to publish her game. She's been working on this for a really long time, but this girl is a good friend of mine, and I wanted to say that, and I'm sorry, Hitomi, if you're hearing this and this is embarrassing or you didn't want me to say it, but the reason that we became me and Tanya were the ones that urged her to do GoFundMe, to ask people for help, to put your hand out. And the reason that I did that, she wasn't really all that into doing it because Japanese culture just, it's hard for them to beg, you know, it's hard for them to ask for help, but sometimes you have to do that. And I think this is important because this is at the point that she get at. She sometimes posts at 2chan. 2chan is the Japanese version of 4chan. Actually, I think it became, I want to say that 4chan is the American version of 2chan. And there were these people there who, and she wasn't asking for help. She was just saying that she's in a bad situation and she's hoping to endure it. And there were these people there, these creeps, these assholes, you know, imagine that. And this one guy offered her money in exchange for nude pictures. Now that's the sort of asshole thing that people on the internet are going to say, you know what I mean? And Hitomi is an attractive person, and they know that, and they say, "Oh, this girl's desperate. Let me see if we can take advantage of her," you know, or maybe it was a joke or whatever. But here's the thing, or maybe it was a scam. Maybe they just want to get naked pictures, and they had no intention of ever sending her money. Any of the above, you know. Here's the thing: from talking to her, I got the impression that she was considering it. She didn't want to do it, but she was considering it because that's how desperate the situation has become. And for her to prostitute herself, and yeah, it is prostitution. It is performing a sexual act for money. It is a form of prostitution, even if you're not touching anybody. It is degrading, and it is wrong. So I was very against her having to degrade herself, and I said, we're going to help you, and we're going to help her. And I say we, I mean everybody. So I'm asking for the second and hopefully the final time here. You know, there's not much more to go. Okay, she's at $415. I have donated $150 over time. And matter of fact, you will see, you go to the page and you will see who has donated what. Okay, and you know, even the guy that just left $20, that helps. You know, Brandy left $20. My friend Joe left $75. Chris Waglin left $50. James Fazuglia, my vice president at Kazara Studios, left $100 all in one go. I left, you know, like $50 here, $50 here. It's up to $150. I've been basically giving her money almost every paycheck. There was only one that I didn't give her $50. I don't want this girl to lose her home. I don't want her to prostitute herself in any way, shape, or form. I don't want her to have to take nude pictures and send them to creeps on the internet in the hopes that they might send her some money. So, I don't want that to happen to any of my friends. So, we set up the GoFundMe page, and I'm asking you again, please go to it. Please read it. And please donate. And if you cannot donate, or you do not want to donate, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it with your friends. If you know anybody that their heart will be touched with this the way mine was, help this girl out, okay? And from what I understand, there is some sort of like reward involved. I haven't talked with her about this specifically, but Tanya was telling me that Hitomi was wanting to, like, when her game is finished, anybody that has donated or helped her out in any way, she wants to give them free copies. So there's that as well. And this game will be in English as well as Japanese, so, because she speaks both. So that's the charity portion of this. Okay. The last portion of this, I said Q&A, charity, and equality. Equality, did want to talk about this. Yesterday, the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, released their rulings on gay marriage. And this is huge, man. This is crazy. They ruled that any law that, on the state level, that discriminates against gay marriage or tries to prevent it is unconstitutional, thereby making gay marriage legal in all 50 states. And I assume that applies to our non-state territories like Puerto Rico and Guam and the Virgin Islands. So, wow. I'll tell you how I first heard about this. It was like 11 in the morning, and it was, oh God, I got to get to bed. We got shit to do later. I got to get up early. And I was on the line with Tanya on Skype, and we were working on a game that I can't tell you about just yet, but we were talking, and she was getting hungry because it was about lunchtime. I was getting tired because it was about bedtime for me. And I was just like, I was laying in my fucking seat here, not even like really looking at the computer, but talking to her on Skype with my microphone and looking at my phone like I am now. And I was like, yeah, let me check Twitter one last time before I go to bed. And, I refreshed it. And I saw a new tweet from George Takei. It was 1 minute ago. And I was like, oh, holy shit. And I hit the link, and there it was. And I said, Tanya. And she's like, what? I was like, Tanya, the Supreme Court. And she's like, what? And I told her, gay marriage, legal, all 50 states. Now, Tanya lives in Massachusetts. She has been married to her wife for quite a while now, so she's already, gay married, so to speak. Now it's just called married. I think we could just say married. You know what I mean? I think differentiating between married and gay married is stupid. But anyway, Massachusetts was the first state to do that. It was actually right after Mitt Romney got elected as governor. It came through there, and he signed the order for all the judges and whatnot that gay marriage was legal in, I'm going to say same-sex marriage. Saying gay marriage bothers me. Same-sex marriage was legal in Massachusetts, and that was the first state. And we've seen more states come and go. California legalized it, and then delegalized it, and then re-legalized it, and it's been a mess, and there's been all these debates and whatnot. And now the Supreme Court has said, like, things like Proposition 8 and whatnot are unconstitutional. And I just want to share with you. Now, see, I'm not gay myself. I'm not on that spectrum, the LGTB spectrum. Lesbian, gay, transgender, and bi. I'm none of those. I'm not a lesbian because I'm not a chick. I'm not gay because I don't have any interest in interacting with male penis. I'm not transgender because I was born a dude and I aim to keep that. And I'm not bi because I'm all about the clam, as Jay said. So I am a male pussy hound with a big beard. I'm like the manliest motherfucker you met, I'm like, I met this new coworker of mine over at the healthcare job, and he was like, oh, you got a look. You like a lumberjack. And I said, oh, thank you. That's kind of what I do, Not that I'm a lumberjack, but that's kind of my look, And he's like, I like it. I like the beard. I like the flannel shirt. I'm like, oh, thank you. So anyway, not everybody gets it, But anyway, people think that if you're a straight person and you support gay rights, that's weird, you know? And how is that weird? You know what I mean? How is that weird? So I have a lot of people who are friends of mine who are on the LGBT spectrum, closest of which is Julie, you know, my girlfriend for years now. And she's bi, you know? And bi people get it the worst, man. You know, they really do. Even gay people are mean to bi people because they're, oh, you're just greedy. But, you know, I know a lot of people I know all of them. I know lesbians, gays, trans, and bi. And look at Tanya, you know. She's technically trans and lesbian, you know. And that's, you know, I never knew her as anything but Tanya. I never knew her as anything but a chick. And let me tell you, knowing her on a personal level, she is the girliest girl that ever girled. You know? I have a friend, Corey, short for Corinne. C-C-O-R-I, not C-O-R-Y. She's trans as well. She was born with dude parts. And, I mean, I didn't even know at first, and when I found out, it was a little weird at first, but then it was like, okay, so what, you know? And let me tell you, she's into girl things. She's a chick, you know? Like me and Tanya I was just talking about this case I got for my phone, and I was like, you know, I had a problem because I was trying to get a case for it, and I didn't like it. First of all, they have, you know, like, you look online or you look in the stores or whatever, I have a Galaxy S5. If you type that in, Galaxy S5 case, the designs are all girly, frilly, flower designs. I want something manly. I can't find anything. And then when you find something that's kind of plain, it's like some weird color, or it's not a protective case, or, you know, this and that, you know. Like, I found a nice leather one, but leather ain't gonna protect my shit if it falls on concrete, you know? That, you know? So I'm just like, yo, man, I don't need that leather armor. I'm gonna level up. I got me a metal case. My friend Andrew, it's copper. It's really cool. But anyway, you know, and Tanya was looking at, I was like, go to Google and type in Galaxy S5 cases, and look how fucking girly everything is. And she's like, oh, they're cute, they're pretty. And I'm like, of course you think that, you're a chick. So, you know, for people to say, well, Tanya's actually a guy. No, first of all, that's offensive, and second of all, you're not even correct, okay? I think your gender's in your brain. It's not in your chromosomes. It's in your brain. Your brain is who you are. That's why when your brain dies, we bury you, okay? Your brain, your mind, that's your consciousness. That's everything that is who you are. That is what you are defined by, okay? I don't think it's a choice, though. I've seen this thing. Zombie Sneak Attack, I think we did a song called Hey YouTube, I'm Tired of My Cock, because there was this woman who became a man who then wanted to switch back to being a woman, and she was trying to raise funds for the operation. And I'm like, why'd you become a woman? And why'd you become a man if you want to go back to being a woman? Like, why are you changing your mind? And I think I said it's a gender, not a revolving door. You know what? I think that you have the right to define yourself by what you feel, but make up your fucking mind. Most people know. They don't waffle on it, you know? But I just wanted to say congratulations to everybody that I feel really good about it. It's a love won. That's the hashtag love wins. Love wins. Love won. You know, everybody was getting really emotional. Tanya cried, you know, and I told her what you need to do is to celebrate. And she's like, well, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, what you need to do is go outside, you know, in front of God and everyone. And I say that even though I don't believe in that, but I like saying it because it's funny. Go out there and start hooting and hollering and yelling and waving things around. And they wound up doing it. Tanya said she must have kissed like 3 or 4 chicks that she didn't even know. So did Carissa. They were all just as a big, you know, happy fest. So I just wanted to say that, because I know somebody will ask me, I support it. I'm for it. People say, well, you're a conservative. I'm a libertarian, man. You know what that means? That means conservative values for yourself and leave everyone else alone. That's what it means. It means that I believe in a small government. And that also means that the government has no place saying you can't get married because that's a dude, or you can't get married because that's a chick. Okay? And by the way, for all the people who are like slippery slope arguments, well, this is going to lead to man on turtle. Somebody on Twitter said, I thought it was very funny, they said, anybody who says that this will lead to man on turtle is a latent turtle fucker. They got kelonophilia, is what I'll say. Zombie Sneak Attack did a song called Kelonophilia. Check it out. It was on our third album, Lies All Lies, The Resurrection of Zombie Sneak Attack. But I just want to say that, and people say, well, this will lead to pedophilia. You'll be able to marry kids. You'll be able to marry animals. It's going to lead to bestiality. Okay, here's the thing. Here's where the line is. 2 consenting adults. That's the line. Okay? You want to talk about pedophilia? That's not 2 consenting adults. You want to talk about, man marrying a donkey? That's not 2 consenting adults. Okay? That's all it is. 2 consenting adults. Now some people are like, well, what about 3 consenting adults? Well, not my thing. Okay? Polygamy is a touchy subject because historically it's been about guys collecting women and them not having too many rights. But I know people who are what's called polyamorous. Not my thing. I am very not interested in that, but they're all consenting adults. So what do I got to say about it? You know? So I just wanted to say that I'm happy for everybody that is affected by this, which is everybody that couldn't get married but now can, and everybody that knows people who are close to them, friends, family members, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, cousins that could not get married but now can. You are affected by this as well, because you get to go to the wedding and eat like cake and shit. So that's going to be cool. And you know what? I've never been to a gay marriage, but I bet they're awesome. I bet they have, first of all, I bet they have way better dancing. I bet they have way better decor, and the food is probably awesome. So I want to go to a gay marriage. Somebody who's gay and is getting married, invite me. Please, I want to go. I want to go. I bet y'all got really cool shit at your wedding. I've only been to straight weddings, and they're not always that great. My sister's wedding was awesome. That was a great reception. I got so fucking drunk. But anyway, that's about it. I think I talked long enough. We did the Q&A. We talked about charity, and we talked about equality, and that's the theme for this week's POTATOCAST. I'll see you guys probably next week. We'll see. It's kind of tough to fill in, both Civilization and POTATOCAST. I took a nap instead of doing Civilization. I'll admit, I was tired as fuck, but I needed sleep because I got up super early. And no, it wasn't for work. I'll admit, me and my friends wanted to watch Captain America. Okay, so sue me. Anyway, see you guys next week with more POTATOCAST. Leave me your questions and comments. I don't reply to everything, but I do read everything. I will try to reply to as much as I can. Have a good week.